Pat yourself on the back because you are right here, right now, for a reason. Welcome to the On Purpose podcast, where together we will empower ourselves and others to live lives with more passion and purpose. All right, On Purpose community, today we have a very special guest who is an undefeated professional MMA fighter. He is 12-0 and currently ranked number 9 in the world with Bellator MMA. He was also the winner in front of Dana White at the Contender Series. And technically he's 21-0 because he had a 9-0 amateur record as well. But before he got super involved in the MMA world, he got his bachelor's in exercise science and health promotion, and he also has his teaching license. And believe it or not, he's actually a good friend and former teammate of mine and Jerrod's, Mr. Justin Gonzales, aka JTrain. Choo choo, baby. How you doing today, JTrain?
I'm great, man. It's good to see you guys. Good to talk to you guys again, man. I know we've kind of been in touch a little bit, but it's fun, man. We've talked about the show for a while, and I'm blessed. I'm pumped to be here, man. Thank you guys for having me.
Oh, we're excited to have you. I mean, I love the fighting accolades, and you've definitely earned every bit of that where you're at. But what I'm most proud of, JTrain, is you are genuinely one of the best people I know, and that started long before you are where you are now. And that's what I really want the community to understand is we bring people on for some of their accolades athletically, but more importantly, we want you to find out the stories behind them and what really helped get them there. And I know you've always been someone I looked up to and one of the hardest workers in the room and just genuinely a good person and never forgot where you came from. So I thank you for that. And, man, it's a blessing to have you on with us.
Thank you guys, man. Hey, you guys have been a big part of my journey as well. So it's right back at you guys, man. It's full circle sometimes.
Well, it goes back to what episode was it? Ali Circle of 5. Was that like our second or third, fourth episode?
Yeah, one of the early ones for sure.
It's all about who you surround yourself with. So I couldn't think of a better way to spend an hour today than with Ali and JTrain on the same call.
Hey, I love it.
All right, but before we get into some big stuff, JTrain, we got to warm you up. It's just like a workout. So we're not going to go to the heavy lifting first. So we got to know. You get stranded on an island, and you're allowed to have one food for the rest of your life. But let me caveat this. This isn't weight cutting JTrain, so I don't want no fucking chicken and rice stuff. I want heavy JTrain. What's he going to take with him?
Oh, man. Jerrod, you know I like to eat, man. You know I like to eat. I'm either going to go chicken wings or sushi. I eat chicken wings 3 times a week for the rest of my life. Or if I was stranded on an island, I'd eat chicken wings all day, every day.
What sauce?
I'm chicken.
What sauce you gonna do?
You know, I mess with Wing Shack pretty heavily, so I like their. I think it's their spicy garlic is what it is. Man.
Are they sponsoring you yet?
You know, I got some friends over there. And I think I should make that happen.
Wing Shack, step up your game.
Like, you know, it's just like I don't know. I don't think chicken wings are the most healthiest. Maybe just they're dumped in grease. But I mean, I could count that as some of my diet. Maybe I'm gonna have to give those guys a shout.
Yeah, man. So number 9 in the world. We need Wing Shack on your shorts so everybody in the audience is wanting the wings while they're watching you fight.
Hey, man, I think I could make them some business. Wing Shack.
I love it. All right, second warm-up question for you, JTrain. If you could be any superhero, real like Batman, or your made-up one like JTrain with a cape on, and have any superpower, who would you be and what would your superpower be?
Man. You guys are hitting me with some tough ones right away. You know, my favorite this is sort of different. My favorite superhero is Batman because he's smart, he's rich, he finds ways to beat everybody. So that guy's pretty high up there. But I don't know if you guys are familiar with Saitama from One Punch Man. That guy's pretty badass too. So probably Saitama, that guy.
Saitama, man, I need to get up on my superheroes because I am not familiar with that guy, man. What show is he from?
He's an anime, One Punch Man. There's only two seasons out, but basically the story is he trained so hard, he lost his hair and just became the superhero. And he's so powerful that one punch just obliterates his opponents. Like there's a hole through their whole body, and yeah.
I'll have to check that out because I'm an anime fan. So One Punch Man, I'll check it out.
Man, I think it's on Hulu.
That shocks me. You don't know that already, Ollie.
Yeah,
me too.
What are you watching out there in Florida, man? You need to get on that.
All right, last warm-up question, JTrain. What book are you currently reading, or what is your favorite book?
Oh, man. I kind of fell off on reading a little bit just with the last fight camp. I'm kind of starting to get back into it. Currently reading, I can't remember the exact name, so I'm paraphrasing. It's The Mind of a Professional Athlete. Short book, quick, easy read. One of my friends, wrestler, just graduated from UNC, gave me the book, and coming in and helped me for the last camp. We were talking about some things about different stressors, pressure of just being this person who I am. And sometimes it comes with some extra weight, and how you handle it and dealing with it. Honestly, I'm only about halfway through the book right now, but it just talks about different ideas of different ways to handle these things. So that book is really interesting right now, and it just really hits home, especially with things changing in my life. But my favorite book has got to be Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. I love that book, man. I've listened to it on audiobook. I've read it, and just like that guy has lived a crazy life and still achieving the man, for some people you would say it's impossible, but I mean, nothing's impossible if you put your mind to it. That guy's set records, running Ironmans, doing multiple races back to back. Just, he's an inspiration for me. Practice some of his methods, do some of his, what does it call it? His practices, like his, it's on the mirror where I know you've read it.
Sticky notes
On the mirror. I do got that in my bathroom. And then your accountability mirror is what he calls it. And
yeah,
I have a couple goals written on there. One is like, did you do a good deed? Did you help somebody? Did you get better today? Did you get out of your comfort zone? Nice. So I read those every morning as I'm getting ready and just trying to, it really helps me. Yeah. To like, hey, man, before we're getting going on the day, before we're going to practice or whatever we're doing, like, let's remember these and let's keep them in mind whenever we're trying to do this,
I love it. Yeah, you could do a lot worse than looking up to somebody besides David Goggins, man. He's intense for sure.
I personally like, I understand why some people would be pushed away from it, but being an athlete and some, like, he cusses, but he's just really raw, and the way he talks about it I can understand why some people wouldn't like it, but for me that hits home, and it just makes me mentally tougher hearing him talk, and the way he expresses it just hits home.
Yeah, I think honestly, if you don't like it, I'm just guessing the majority of people, if they don't like it, it's not the language and stuff, it's the truth that he speaks.
The truth, and it's almost too true.
For people, it's too true.
And it's like, but he even says it whenever he's talking about it, he's like, you can't lie to yourself. You got to callous this mind, and you got to accept these. You got to be real about, if you want change, you got to be real with yourself and acknowledge that sometimes you are the problem. How do we fix it? Let's attack this issue. It's the only way to get better. It's the only way to get through it.
Yeah, and I think for someone like David Goggins, he's just so authentic and genuine, right? And when you are your authentic and genuine self, you're going to be polarizing. For some people like you, JTrain, that's really going to attract you, Jerrod, to David Goggins, but for some others, it's going to be repulsive. And I'm sure as you continue to progress in your career, you've probably already experienced some of this, as you continue to become genuine JTrain and be genuine JTrain in the world, have more spotlight on you, it's going to be the same thing. Some people attracted, some people repulsed.
You know, some people, just like for fighting example, some people are about it. Everybody says they want to be a fighter. There's these fans who really like, I think I can do this. Everybody thinks they can be a fighter until it comes time to do fighter shit and getting punched in the face every day, being beat up all the time, waking up early, doing these runs after you're already done with practice. I can understand why it's not for everybody, you know, but I love it. So.
Yeah, no, it's apparent you love it, dude. You've loved it ever since I met you, and it's apparent in every step. But I want to touch real quick on one of the things that I really think gives people insight into who you are as a person is one of your accountability mirror things is to do a good deed.
Yes.
So talk to me through that, because it would be easy as a professional fighter and a top 10 fighter in the world to replace that with do an extra run or do something more selfish. So why is that such a focus for you, and how did you develop that?
You know, it just something to me, it just kind of, I try not to be a very selfish person, and I have a big heart. I care about others, and going along with that, doing a good deed for somebody else, you know, open the door for somebody. If an old lady needs help out of her car, I don't know, it could be something as minuscule as that, but it could be something as big as helping your buddy move. And take it with however you want to take it, with whatever it is. I see some people start getting bigger and having success, and they start losing themselves. And for me, like, I don't want that to happen. And I don't think it ever will, just the person I am. But doing something like that just really keeps me true to myself and keeps me true to, you know, being a good person. And if you do good things will come to you. And it's just keeps me down to earth, keeps me that like, hey man, a lot of people might look at you as this big fighter, this big tough, I don't know, however you want to put it, successful person, but I'm not letting that get in my head. I'm not letting my head swell up, and it just keeps me real, man. Just keeps me down to earth. Like I said, I think it's very important for me to keep that, because you see some people lose it and lose themselves, and then it also kind of goes hand in hand and it starts affecting their career. And I'll leave it at that.
No, I think you're 100% right, and I think that's kind of the point I was going to make there for you and with you to our community is, no matter where you're ascending to or where your climb's taking you in life, it's always important to remember where you were at. And like Ollie and I constantly talk about being kind to people that we cross paths with, because at some point where you are may no longer be. Like at some point, JTrain's going to be my age, and he's no longer going to be top 10 in the world.
Yeah.
And all you have to fall back on is how you've treated people along the way. And that, not only do they remember it, but that makes life. Right? Like, and that's one of the things I've always admired about you is, even since I've been gone from the gym for a couple months, I saw a post a couple weeks ago, and it was you and one of the little kids sitting on the mat playing a game. Yeah. And I literally like put a little tear in my eye, because I'm like, that's literally who you are. It
was Kelsey's kids, I believe.
Yeah, it was Isla.
Isla was showing me how to do origami.
Yeah.
And now that's kind of like our thing, where she taught me how to make a swan. She made me a swan. I don't remember how to do it exactly, because that was a lot of stuff. I'm going to try. So now now they're getting back to school, so they're kind of not in the gym as much, but I always take some time, talk to them, see what's going on. Just bullshit with them, man. I mean, like, just listen to somebody's issues. Ollie, I think we talked about this, giving people a little bit of love and attention could really make a difference in their life. Some of these younger guys at the gym, they look at me like I'm the man, and me being in there helping them, me being able to walk them out might stick with them for the rest of their lives, you know? So if that's all I have to do and it's making a difference in their life, hey man, that makes me feel good in my heart. So I think I did my job there.
I love that. I love that, JTrain, because what you represent and what you stand for are things that we need more of in the world. And like you commented on earlier, people talk about it, right? People talk about, I want to be a fighter, but when it comes to do fighter shit, they don't want to do it. And people talk about being a good and kind person, but when it comes to be a good, kind person, they don't want to do it. And these are almost, from the outside view, people would think that these are almost kind of opposing characteristics, right? Like as a fighter in the cage, you're a savage, you're an animal, you know, you were there to knock someone out, to choke someone out. You were not there to be nice. But on the other hand, your personality, your demeanor, like I remember being at trials and being like, dude, JTrain legitimately has conversations with the kids. Like you will ask the kids how they're doing and just anyone, right? You treat everybody the same with love and respect. And that's one of the things I love about you. So take us back a little bit earlier in the JTrain story, JTrain, of like, how did these two almost opposing character traits about you of being a very high level fighter and also being a high level, kind, good person, how did these come about in your life?
You know, man, that's a tough, as for the fighter, I think it makes sense. You know, I've wrestled since I was 8 years old. I played football, played baseball, but for some reason, man, I really liked wrestling. I think just pushing yourself and just being able to kind of get your frustrations out in a different way. It's a funny story. When I was younger, I was a little shit, man. I was getting in fights in school. Sometimes me and my buddies would make this like little after school fight club and we'd go fight each other and then we'd go home. And I would get in trouble. And my mom and dad were like, we need to get him doing something. Like he has too much energy, whatever. I wanted to box. And they're like, I don't think that's the best idea if you're fighting. Maybe we shouldn't just be teaching you how to punch these kids. But so they're like, let's try wrestling. I thought we were doing WWE. We walk in this gym, like, where's the turnbuckles, Dad? What the heck is this? And ever since I was 8 years old, man, I would go to school. I would do my homework, then we'd go wrestle. And then growing up, it was kind of the same. Then I started that was just life. High school, college, I'd go to school, I'd work, I'd go wrestle, I'd go train, and then random stuff like study hall and stuff like that. So I feel like that just kind of correlated. This is just what I've done, and this is comfortable for me. This is a way of life for me. Plus, I mean, like I said, I really love what I do. It was a new challenge whenever I started fighting. So I think that's what really made me fall in love with that. As for the person side, man, I just, I have this thing against like people being bullies. It really doesn't sit right with me. That it bugs me, man. It pisses me off. And it just kind of correlates with, why do people have to be that way towards others? We live in a pretty ugly world right now where a lot of things are, I want to say ugly, but I also want to say soft. You can't say anything without hurting somebody's feelings. But with that being said, you don't have to always try to hurt somebody's feelings, man. It takes zero effort to be like, hey, Ali, man, your hair looks pretty dang good right now, man. You know, Jerrod, good for you, man. You're growing out your beard.
I'm offended. How come my hair don't look good?
It looks good too, you know? And it's just kind of, I think just the way I was raised with my parents teaching me right and wrong and just seeing a lot of different things in my life. You just kind of, you can tell a bad person just by the way they are and the way they treat people. I always try to say, I can't judge somebody based off of something they did to somebody else. That's not right. That has nothing to do with me. And you weren't there. I wasn't a part of their story. So Don't draw me into that drama. I can only judge them based on how they interact with me and what our relationship has been, you know? So I try to keep everybody. It doesn't matter if you went to prison, it doesn't matter if you're a fighter, it doesn't matter if you're in the band or if you work at Subway and anywhere in between, you know, everybody at least deserves a chance, man. Like, you treat them all with respect, and if they don't give it back, well, that's somebody who's not going to sit at my table.
Yeah, and you do a fantastic job of really walking the walk when it comes to that. I've had the privilege of being a teammate of yours for 4 years, seeing you in the gym, and it doesn't matter if it's another pro fighter there, coach, or a little 8-year-old kid. You treat them with respect, and you have genuine conversations with them. I'm curious, JTrain, you mentioned a word, and actually it's a phenomenon right now, which is bullying, which has actually evolved into even cyberbullying, right? The bullying nowadays doesn't even end when you go home. It can continue online. So I'm curious, JTrain, do you have, because you said you hate that, right? You fight against bullying. That's something that you stand against.
Yeah.
Do you have an experience early on in your life, whether it was you got bullied or you stood up for someone that was bullied, or anything around bullying that really solidified that fight for you?
Yeah, man, like, you see it all over the place, and like kind of going into my teaching license, they kind of teach you about certain things that, man, before I got this education, I didn't realize that was bullying. I just kind of overlooked it. As a kid, there was a couple times on the bus, and it was like, these guys, man, these guys were big. So we rode the bus. I was in elementary school. My brother was in the 6th grade. These 8th graders were kind of messing with him. And, you know, that's my brother, dude. I ain't going to let these guys mess with my brother. These guys were just punks. And I got beat up, man. Like, you know, we both got beat up. I was like, oh, man, this is not a good. So we walked home with like a bloody nose. I had a little black eye. That sucked. Like, what the heck? I was like, I ain't gonna let these guys bully my brother, man. That's not cool. And so we went home. My dad's like, what the heck happened to you guys? And he kind of takes us. He's like, show me who did the, like, I just want to see like what. And I can't remember, but like riding in his truck, I'm in the back. I'm like, Dad, no, like, this is embarrassing. I don't want you to go like say anything. And he didn't, but he wanted to see who we got in a fight with. And he's like, you fought those two? And I was like, yeah. I was like, all right, cool. Hey, at least I know you guys ain't like. So that kind of sat with me since he's like, you know what, it might not be right that they were bullies, whatever, but the fact that like I stood up for my brother, he stood up for me, granted we took an ass whooping, but it was just cool, man. That just really sat with me. And to be honest, after that happened, those guys didn't mess with us anymore.
Yeah.
I think it was just like they got arousal by just messing with people, and the more they would let it mess with them, they built off of that. They grew off of it. So after that, like, they kind of started talking to me and my brother, and they kind of started leaving us alone a little bit. But I don't know, man. It's I just like, and then you see it in the workplace. You just see like bullying can be anything, man. It could be somebody just because you're at a bar and they just cut you in line and you've been waiting there for 5 minutes. I don't know. That's just an example, but it just like, you see people who maybe don't have the confidence, don't have the abilities to be able to be like, hey man, that's not cool. You don't do that. So if I see stuff like that happen, I always like, hey, no, get out of here, man. Don't be messing with these guys, you know, just means something to me.
Yeah. When did you realize that professional fighting could be a career choice for me? Because you'd gotten your teaching certificate, you were all set to enter what we'd say a more normal path in life, right? College, yeah. Athlete, teaching. When did you realize that this professional fighting thing could be for you? And how did you handle the decision to kind of walk away from a sure thing of paychecks and guaranteed job to chase your dream?
Man, I've talked to you guys about this before, but maybe the world should hear it. When I started this, I just wanted to take one amateur fight just to say I did it, man, just tell my kids a cool story that like, hey, your old man did that one time. And I just wanted to try it. So me and my buddy, one of my best friends, we decided, I'll do it if you do it. I kind of want to do something a little different than just wrestling all the time. I was just grinding. I was just like, wrestling's cool. This was my passion at the time, but I want to do something a little different. We go into the gym and we're training for a summer. And towards the end of summer, we're about to start school again. The coach tells us, he's like, hey man, you guys are actually pretty good. You guys should think about taking a fight. We got one next month. You guys are already in shape. You guys are learning still. You've already been in here. So I told my buddy, I'll do it if you do it. We did. We both dominated, beat the crap out of these guys. And it was in our backyard, which is even better. But even still, man, like I think I made like $800. Dads were introducing me to their daughters. People were buying things. This is cool, man. I like this. But even at that point, I was like, I'm going to finish school first and we'll kind of just see where this goes. I fell in love with the sport. So I'd wrestle during the season. And as long as I was training with the team during the off season, the coaches said, hey, you can go fight, whatever. But whenever it's time to wrestle, you got to wrestle. So I don't know the exact time, man. It was just, I was winning these amateur fights. We decided we wanted to go pro. It was time to go pro. And I wasn't sure if this is like what I wanted to do. I was still just a fan of MMA at this time, watching Anderson Silva knock people out. And Tito Ortiz at that time was one of my favorites. It was just, it was hard to visualize me doing this for a living, because I was on my route. I was getting my degree. I was so ready just to do that. That was my passion at the time. And the more I just trained and the more I kept winning and just having coaches around me who were like, man, if you want to do this, you can really do this. It really kind of almost put it in my head that like, yo, you are a bad motherfucker, dude. And if you want to do this and you're going to commit like you are, let's do it. Let's go to the top. And at one point I just said, you know what? I'm going to roll the dice. It was whenever I finally got signed with Bellator. I said, you know what? This is what I wanted. And I'm going to quit my job and I'm going to be a fighter full time. I saved up a lot of money over the years. I had my house. I rent out a couple rooms to some roommates. So like I was financially healthy. I was in a spot where I was like, you know what? I was even talking myself out of it. I was like, dude, are you going to be okay financially? Like, are you sure this is what you want to do? And I just had to sit and talk with my coaches. I talked with my parents. I just had to be alone and talk to myself. And then I was like, if this is what you're going to do, then you're going to do it all out and you're going to do it the right way. And look at us now, man. There were some thoughts that I like really wanted to do this full time. And whenever I had the opportunity, man, it was just, Justin, you'd be an idiot not to take this chance. It's what you wanted for years. And now it's here and you're not going to take it. No way, man. That's crazy. That just sounds ridiculous to me.
I love that. And I want our community to understand one thing, because a lot of our community will never fight in a cage, but they're all fighting for something in life. And a couple things in your story that stood out to me is, one, you just wanted to try it, right? I can't tell you how important it is for us to get out and try stuff. Like, you don't know what could be if you don't ever even try. Like, it was 50-50. You could have done that first fight and been like, okay, I'm done. I'm never going to do it again, and went and taught.
Yeah.
But because you took an action step, it opens doors to potential life-changing relationships and journeys and stories. So one is that you took opportunity, right? So for our community out there, be active in pursuing things, right? Take a chance. And then two, you still had doubts, JTrain.
Absolutely. I had many doubts. I still have doubts sometimes, but
which are normal. which are normal.
Yeah, it's totally normal.
And we talked about that in last week's episode. Ali is not trying to avoid conflict and not being adverse to all conflict, internal or external. So, JTrain, where did you go when you had those doubts and you're like, okay, I don't know. What was it that you went to help you decide to bet on yourself? Because a lot of people will get there and will play it safe.
Yes.
And then
absolutely.
you die and you wonder, what the hell could I have been? So what was it that you went to that was like, nope, I got to bet on myself?
It's kind of, I feel like that story I told you about getting in a fight with those kids, and they were a lot bigger than us. And it was like, you got to take that chance, man. Either I'm going to knock this kid out and because for mess with me and my brother, or we're going to take a whooping, and well, at least we're going to know where we are. And look how it turned out for me. Those kids didn't mess with us anymore.
Yeah.
It's tough, man, because I still have doubts sometimes. It's for anybody. Like you said, I'm normal. Sometimes I'm sitting there and I'm about ready to go out for a fight, and I'm just like, damn, what are you doing? Whoa, what are you doing here? There's thousands of people out there, and you're about to go fight this guy in front of all of them. And holy shit, man. I want to say this to everybody. That feeling right before you walk out for a fight is one of the most intense emotional roller coasters I could ever imagine, ever. Just, I'm scared. I'm excited. I'm nervous. I'm pumped up out of my mind, like ready to go kill this guy. There's so many things going through your head. But I just said, man, like, I think I didn't achieve some of my goals with wrestling. I came up a little bit short on becoming a NCAA D1 All-American. So I felt like this was maybe like a second chance at just, you know what? Things didn't go your way. It's okay. It happens. But are you just going to sit back and dwell on that the rest of your life? But I also really like this, and I see some of these fighters, and that's where I want to be, man. I see these guys who have that Bellator belt, and honestly, I think it's mine. And just kind of talking to yourself through these self-doubts of just, you know what? I know what I do in the gym. I know what I do whenever I go and put in my road work. I know what I'm doing when I'm watching film. And I know the people I have around me who are on that level too and want to achieve the same things. So it just reassures me that, you know, everything I'm doing has a purpose. I'm going to be fine. Even if I take a tumble, it's not like I'm going to die because I lose a fight. You know, my family's still going to love me. My team's still going to love me. There's a lot worse things out there. So, I was like, man, let's do it. Let's see let's see what happens, man. Like you said, I don't want to be 50 years old, having my kids, and I'd have nothing to tell them. Like, I'd be like, you know, I want to lead by example. And I want to show kids, little guys at the gym, my kids, whenever I have them, partners, anybody who's watching this. If I can do these things, you can do these things, you know? It's that what if factor is I can't live my life wondering what if I would have done this? What if I wouldn't have, you know? How different my life would be.
Yeah. And a few things I love about your story, JTrain, is that you have a story that can give a lot of people hope who may be experiencing the things that you've experienced. You know, somebody that got beat up by the bigger 8th grade kids, you know, someone who was bullied, someone who maybe just is trying something and has that little spark in their mind of like, what if I took this seriously, you know, to where it's not like you were handed anything on a silver platter. You went with your gut, you executed on things and you took action. But statistically, the odds of achieving what you have achieved already are extremely small. I mean, the odds are stacked up against you. And your dream of becoming a professional athlete, a professional MMA fighter, is probably at least comes up as a dream for all men at least once in their life, right? Like everybody's like, oh, I want to be a professional this, I want to be a professional that. And now you're here. You did it. Not only are you here, but you were dominant in the sport. You're top ranked in the world. You're undefeated. And you have achieved so many things, but it comes with so much hard work. And like you said, there's been so much doubt. And even today, sometimes that doubt creeps up. So I'm curious to know, you let us know a little bit about, sometimes you have to have that conversation with yourself and have, the people around you. What before that, before you had the countless hours in the gym, before you had the coaches, let's say someone who's going through the bully phase right now, who has doubts maybe about just them being worthy of being at the school or in the room or whatever it is, what would you say to those people of how to overcome that doubt and continue to keep moving forward?
It's not always easy, man. There's been plenty of times where I thought, hey, man, maybe it's time to hang these up. But you just got to keep fighting, man. I was in that boat where a lot of you guys are. I'm sure you two have been there before as well. And I live by this quote, and it's, if you want something bad enough, you will find a way to make it happen. And it's, man, if you have to work a full-time job, sometimes doing overtime, and then after you have to go to the gym, so be it, man. If you want it bad enough, you will make it happen. There's been plenty of times where we went in early to work, I got out late of work, and I was like, damn, I got to go straight to the gym and lift, and then I got to go straight to practice if I'm going to make both.
Yeah.
And at that time, man, it was like, you know what? I want this bad enough. I'm going to do it. And I did it for 9-10 years. And finally, I got the opportunity, man. It's just keep trucking along, man. Go in there with the right attitude. Keep putting all your effort into what you want. And eventually, man, you put one foot in front of the other, you'll reach your destination. It's not always going to be easy. And there's going to be times you want to quit or you just want to stay home, whether it's fighting, whether it's school, whatever it is, man, you're not going to always want to do it, but doing it whenever you don't want to is what makes the biggest difference.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's something very important for people is you got to do things when you don't want to do them. That's when you make the biggest gains. But I like what Ali said, right? The odds of JTrain getting to where he is are slim to be a professional fighter at his level. But I will tell you this, if you never believe in yourself and never try, they're absolutely zero.
Your chance becomes zero.
You have no chance.
You gotta put your name in the lottery, man. You got to at least give yourself that 1 in a million chance.
How many lives you got, JTrain?
One.
So why would we not bet on ourselves? And that's something we're always preaching, man. If life is what it is, bet on yourself, which means you got to take action. You got to show up. We're not betting on ourselves if we know all the answers and victory's guaranteed. JTrain's undefeated, but understand every time he went in there, it's 50-50 who's going to win. Now the odds start to change on your preparation, your belief system, who you surrounded yourself with. You can increase the odds, but shit happens.
Hey, man, it only takes one punch. I could drop my hand and, hey, Jerrod, remember that time I got kicked in the face?
That's a good story, huh?
I don't want to change this story.
Oh, you could share the story. I lied to him. What he's getting to is I lied to my man, right? So
he lied to me, but he lied to me.
But I had to. It was a good lie.
All right, I gotta hear this now. What happened?
So he's fighting Trevor Massey, right?
Yes.
Is that your pro debut?
No. This was my second
pro fight.
This was my first fight with you guys at Trials, I believe.
So we're in Denver. So the whole backdrop, right? He's the main star of this show. So we get to Denver early and we're going out for lunch, walking down the streets. I'm not shitting you. Cars are just driving by. Beep, beep, choo, choo. That's when we realized, like, this dude's big time already, man. Like, look at this. So we go out to the fight, and I'm cornering him with Mike. and JTrain's winning. Boy, he's looking good. He's smooth like he is in practice. Is it round two? Into round two?
Right at the end of round 2, I hear that clacker.
Go ahead.
Dude, we hear the clacker, and I'm kind of going for a takedown already, but this dude just slips up this kick. It hits my knuckles. I thought I had my hand up, but not enough. Boom, boom. Splits my face open, like right away. I can see my blood dripping on this guy's back as I take him down. I'm like, damn, this is not good. So we go to the corner. It's a 3-round fight. We're going into the last round, and I'm sitting there. They're working on my eye, and I just kind of like get this little grin on my face, and I'm like looking at Jerrod. I'm like, hey, Jerrod, how bad is it? And he like his face instantly turns like, nah, it's not that bad. This is bad. Okay. And like after that, like I'm like, I think I should probably just end this fight.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, if you could do that, that'd do it. The judge is coming in, checking out my eye. We're scared he's gonna stop it. And we end up choking the guy out in like another minute into the 3rd round.
Yeah.
So it was good.
Yeah, it was funny.
That story because
he's like, you fucking lied to me, dude.
Like, Jerrod, why would you lie to me, man? It was great.
Well, it was a good cut, and I looked at him. I'm like, we might want to just take him down and get this over with.
Yeah, that's exactly like. If you can just end it, take him down.
But
I'll try to end it.
Dude, now here's something else that I want to share, man. Like, I wasn't sure I was gonna bring this up, JTrain, but I feel like we got to for our audience.
What do you got up your sleeve, Jerrod?
Well, you're undefeated, but you ducked at one guy.
I feel like I know.
No, it was funny, man. So we were both amateurs, and we fought on the same show a couple times.
A few times.
And we were selling lots of tickets, and the promoter Jeff was like, what about you and JTrain? I would sell a lot of tickets. And we were both coaching youth wrestling in Northern Colorado. So we had you were coaching at Berthoud.
I was coaching at Berthoud at the time.
I was at Grit. So we had kids that were crossing over. So I didn't even know this was a thing yet, but I literally had parents come up to me at practice. They're like, are you going to have to fight JTrain? And I was like, I don't know. And they're like, oh, we don't really want you to fight. And they were like people that were buying tables for him. They buy tables for me. Like, they're big fans. They're like, we can't watch you two fight. So I always just keep that in my pocket that, JTrain's undefeated, but there could have been.
Yeah, how different it would have been. Jerrod, I'm really glad it never happened.
For sure, man.
Coaches, you've helped me a lot. And, since you're in Fort Collins now, we have team tonight.
Shit, dude, what are you going to beat up an old ball guy for? What you going to get out of that? Now you're going to bully me.
Just for old time's sake,
Yeah.
Nobody has to know. We'll leave it undisclosed.
I know. It was funny, though, because, so all the time. So I quit fighting in 2016, and obviously JTrain's still going, but the practices I had with him, if we were sparring and stuff, I'd always be like, hey, I never got my title shot.
Like, this is it. For all the marbles.
Yeah. Nah, it's good times, man, but it's crazy, right? Like, people think of fighting as, like, this barbaric, mean, macho, and I'm going to tell you guys that, like, me taking that fight in 2014, much like JTrain, just to challenge myself to see if I could do it, put my life on a completely different path. He took his fight to see if he could do it, put him on a different path. Ali's experienced fighting. Now, I'm not saying you have to be a fighter to do that, but what I am saying is do something that scares you. Do something that challenges you. The worst that's going to happen is you realize you don't like it.
And that's it. That's the worst that can happen. And then if it's not for you, you can go back to what you're doing. There's nothing in the world that says you can't go back to something after you left.
You never know.
No.
You may become a professional world champion out of the process.
I do have a question, though, because so last week, Ali and I went in on this a little bit because I didn't notice JTrain, but Courtney, who I revere as like this yoga spiritual goddess, had never heard of Hulk Hogan.
everybody knows Hulk Hogan.
I
Man.
know. All right, so you brought
That's
up.
what I thought.
You thought your first wrestler practice was WWE, and Ollie and I were talking about we used to have our favorites, and we went to live shows. So who was your favorite WWE wrestler? You're a Stone Cold guy, aren't you?
I am a Stone Cold
I
guy.
could tell.
Dude, taking 2 beers and just Austin 360. Stone Cold Stunner, just that guy was the man.
Was that your move? How many times did poor Vinny get stunned?
Oh man, on trampoline, at least hundreds.
I love it.
Video for a different podcast. They were doing this like competition of it's called like it was a mix between jiu-jitsu and WWE wrestling. So if you guys can find it, it's like Senor Tutu versus El Headlock or something. You guys,
I saw that, man. I was impressed with the pro wrestling skills with Vinny. You guys had the luchador masks, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, that was a good one, man. Hey, if for any reason you decide to leave Bellator, man, WWE might need to get a call.
Vince McMahon, what's up? I think he's a new star.
I love it. I love it. All right, JTrain, as we wrap up, so we got community members around the world, and maybe they're struggling to take that first step to what could be their dream or open a door to a new life. What do you say to them to get them going? So here's where I want you to picture this, though. We're going to switch roles. They're sitting on their stool in between rounds in the corner, and they're not sure if they're going to come out for that round. They're not sure they're going to step up to life and lead that purposeful life. What's JTrain saying to them to get them going?
Why the fuck not? Like, what is stopping you, man? Don't think of everything that can go wrong. Try to think of everything that can go right and think of how great it's going to be when it does. And, you know, dude, to be honest, I have a lot of talks with Ryan about sometimes where you start picturing this end result. So I guess as I say that, I'm going to contradict myself here, but don't think about the end result. Do it and do it wholeheartedly. Do it with passion. Do it with like a full heart that you love what you're doing, but enjoy the ride, man. That's part of what's fun. Sure, it'd be easy to think of, oh, how great it would be to be Bellator champion of the world. I got all this money in my bank account and whatever it may be. But to be honest, man, right now it's pretty fucking cool climbing that mountain and being able to be like, okay, I want to fight you next. Or, you know, then after I fight you and beat you up, I want to fight you and I'm taking your O, you know. Enjoy the journey with it, man. You got to make this fun. There's a reason why you want it to do whatever it is you want it to do. So do it, man. Do it and do it big. Don't be afraid to fail. Failing, it just gives you another chance to learn, and then we're going to correct it after that. I've failed so many times in practice. I've been choked out so many times, but that's the reason why I win when it comes to a fight is, man, don't be afraid to take those chances. Those chances are the thing that can separate you from everything you have ever wanted or keeping you right where you're at.
Yeah,
I love that, man. I need JTrain in my corner next time. That was great.
we all need a little JTrain in our lives.
Hey, thank you guys, man. It's you know, it's not just me, man. You're gonna go through hard times, like I said, but having the right people around you, like we talked about at the beginning, is the circle of 5. You surround yourself with successful people, you will be successful. You surround yourself with losers, you're gonna be a loser. So,
Amen, brother. So what can we expect next for JTrain?
yo, guys, we got some fight talks in the work. I'm training. I feel great. I can't disclose it right now because nothing's locked in, but I will tell you this. It's going to be a big fight. It's going to be a big name, and it's coming up here in the next couple months. So stay tuned. Check out my page. Give me a follow. Just if you guys want to see more of my journey, man, go give me a follow. JTrain_1991, man. That's all my tags for everything. So
Where do you like them going most? Instagram? Where are you most active?
Instagram. Yeah. Instagram is probably the best for me. Twitter. I'm more Instagram savvy. I like Instagram. I like posting pictures. I feel like it's more personal with people.
Sure.
I can really share my story and you guys can see what I'm all about, man.
Yeah, we'll get over there and follow JTrain. You wouldn't be following a better fighter and person in the world. I guarantee you that.
Thank you guys, man. That means a lot coming from you guys, man. For real.
Thank you, JTrain. Yeah, listeners, again, that was JTrain_1991. All aboard the JTrain. Choo choo. Stay tuned for his next steps. And thank you, JTrain, for this episode, man. I'm all hyped up. I'm like, man, I gotta go do something and do it big after this. So thanks for the great talks and the great lessons. Had a great time having you on the show.
Anytime, brother. I appreciate you guys. Thank you guys for having me.
And remember, team, life is far too short to live any other way than on purpose. We will see you all again next week.